Hi everyone, Chad Peterman here, continuing our series on Peterman's DFS program and the impact it's had on how we run calls. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, take a listen from the beginning of this short series and you'll get caught right on up. In this episode, I sat down with another one of our field professionals, Josiah, and dove into how DFS shifted his interaction with customers in a big way. Hey guys, back again. Wanted to share... Not so much share, just I wanted to talk to Josiah. He's been another person who's been through our DFS program, our direct field support. For those of you that don't know about it, it was a program that was created, I call it beginning of the year-ish in 2024. And really the goal of it was to provide our field professionals the support that they need from communicating to a customer, building options, really doing all of the things outside of the technical aspect of what they do on a daily basis. And I wanted to talk with Josiah just to get his input on, kind of the impact it had on his, his level of service and what he did. So I guess before we get started, Josiah, maybe give us a little bit of background on maybe what you did before, how long you've been here, this, that, and the other.
I've been with Peterman Brothers just over 2 years. Previous to that, I had a lot of experience in diagnostics across everything.
Yep.
Did HVAC maintenance, but also everything maintenance in an apartment complex.
Okay.
So real big diagnostics background, but previous to Peterman Brothers, I didn't have much customer interaction, and it definitely no sales type interaction. It was, I'm here to fix something and you don't have to worry about it. I'm just going to take care of it.
Yep.
So coming in, I could diagnose things, I could work on stuff, no problem whatsoever. I was comfortable with the tools, but I wasn't comfortable with the people because I always consider myself a terrible salesperson.
Yeah.
What 2 years in the field did was get me really comfortable talking to people and talking to the customer and explaining what's going on, but there was definitely still some missing aspects of it. DFS definitely kind of filled some of those gaps for me.
Yeah. Let's talk about those gaps. Give me an example of one where hey, maybe I struggled, I got in the program, and then I worked on it for, however long, and all of a sudden, light bulb went off. This is easier now that I've done it a few times.
I was trying too hard to be a salesman and not trying hard enough to just be a person with my customers.
Yeah.
So I was going in there thinking, okay, I've got to sell this, I've got to change this, I've got to get something going for this person. And a really big deal in DFS is just go through the process, write up your 6 options, explain them, hand them the tablet, and just shut up.
Yeah.
At that point, the first person to talk loses.
Yeah.
The idea being a person can't stop and look and think about what decision they're making if you're sitting there talking in their ear.
Yeah.
Trying to be a salesman, trying to explain this, that, or the other. Just let them make that decision. And that's a really big part of the Peterman process and what the DFS coaches will go through to kind of help explain, this is what you should be doing.
Yeah. No, I think that's a huge point. And, I've talked about this a number of times, and I think it's just one of those things that we've all got to get comfortable with, right? It's, if there's one thing I know, I've been doing this for 13 years. And guess what? Every field professional that's ever probably worked here, you know what the one thing they all have in common is they would all say, well, I'm not a salesperson. I'm not a salesperson. Well, rather than make you a salesperson, the goal with the Peterman way was to create a process where you don't have to be. Literally, if you follow the process, you make the 6 options, you turn it over to the customer, and you just let them choose whatever it is that they want. And I think that, we've gotten, some feedback as to 6 options. I feel like I'm selling them something they don't need. Well, if that's the case, then please don't sell them anything they don't need. However, if they don't have a humidifier, if they don't have a UV light, are those things that they could benefit from? Yeah, probably. Should they know about those things? Yeah, probably. I think sometimes when we're out in the field, we take those things for granted, they don't need one of those on their system or whatever it may be. Maybe they don't, but let's let them choose if they want one or not. If we are holding back things, to me, that's more salesy than anything. Is if we're holding back information, we should just give them all the information. And yeah, if they ask questions about like, what the hell is that? Or what does this do? Or is this going to help me? Well, then, yeah, give your professional opinion on what that is and how that would help. I think that's such an important point to the sales piece. And then I think it's also an important point. I want to talk a little bit about this. As you said, before you came here, like talking to people and like this just didn't something you did. Like, right, your apartment maintenance, like they called you out, you just fix it because, well, that's the job responsibility of the apartment complex. Tell me about how like that journey has evolved. How have you found comfort in being able to talk to people?
Like when I first got out in the field, one of our now DFS coaches was the person I rode out with for quite a bit of time, Antonio Agresta.
Yeah.
He is an impressive people person.
He is. He can talk to anybody.
And that was...
Makes me mad sometimes. I can't do that.
Right? But seeing the interaction that he did and trying to model what I was doing off of what he was doing was a really big help. So I had a really great first step into just HVAC in general. But getting comfortable, like the whole process of that was very slow and one step at a time. You just kind of have to start out by just getting comfortable explaining what you're finding to someone.
Yep.
And those conversations can often be really uncomfortable and just suck really bad. Because if you're explaining, hey, this system that's older than I am somehow is not really doing what it's supposed to, like people aren't ready for that conversation. They don't want to hear it. So there's a lot of apprehension to get past in that.
Yeah.
And you just kind of have to let go of your emotions and your fears in that and just start talking.
Yeah.
And then over time, a lot of it is learning how to get someone else talking.
Yeah.
Asking those questions. If you can get your customer just talking about themselves for 20 minutes, like you've made a friend for life and they've gotten past all the apprehension of having you in the house.
Yeah.
A really important thing to think about is as worried as you could be walking to this person's house and talking to them, they are just as worried.
Yeah, you're a complete stranger that just walked into their home.
You got a complete stranger. They're thinking this person's going to try to sell me something.
Yep.
They're clutching their money and just worried about what you're going to tell them. So being able to get them talking and get them past that is just as important as, yourself getting past that and being able to talk to them about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the getting them to talk, like, I think when we teach it in the Peterman way, it can come off as like, oh, well, we're just trying to get them talking so that we can sell them something. No, we're trying to get them talking because that's how we build trust. That's how we allow them to feel comfortable. To your point, they're just as nervous as you are. They know that something is wrong and it's probably going to cost money to fix. Everyone's taken their car in or, had a repairman out or whatever it may be, and you just don't know. The reason you called them is because, well, I don't have the answer. I need to call somebody who does. So the whole point in really every step of the process is to make them feel comfortable. I remember when, I was out on a call with Carson and he was talking, when we got up to the unit, the first thing that he went through was, is there anybody else that usually works on this thing? I don't want to step on anybody's toes. Tell me a little bit about that part of the Peterman process.
So it's a really, really important section of it because you can get a lot of information about history on the unit and then what the customer is wanting and needing by asking that. Identifying competition, identifying someone else who's had their hands in there can give you a lot of idea of where you should be looking. And then if you come across anything in the system, like it's not necessarily a scapegoat on that, but it's definitely a talking point of, hey, I came across this in the system. This is not how we left it last time we were here.
Yep.
And you told me so-and-so was out here. Did they tell you they did anything here?
Yeah.
But also it gives you an idea of, if they are shopping around and they're trying to find, like they already know something's a problem because someone else has been there.
Yep.
It gives you a really big leg to say, hey, like, don't tell me what they told you, but I definitely want to go through the system and make sure that I'm on the same page they are, or vice versa.
Yeah.
But also, if I'm at someone's house and they had someone else there previously, and they had a really bad experience with their company, getting to that point and figuring out what happened gives me a huge leg up because I know I should not do what this person did.
Yeah.
Because they completely screwed the pooch, and now I'm here instead. Like, I need to make sure this interaction is comfortable and runs the way that it needs to, so this customer can make a good decision today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that, unfortunately, in our industry, a lot of customers have had a lot of bad experiences. And so being as it may, our job is to show them that, not only for us, but for our entire industry, that, field professionals and the trades and everything, this isn't something to be looked down upon. I feel like for so long, everybody's just looked, oh, they're just trying to screw people over. They're just trying to do all this stuff. There may be some, but that ain't us. And that's not how we're going to operate. We're going to operate with full transparency and trust, and that's what we're going to build with the customer. So identifying, hey, did you have a bad experience at some point? When I was out with Carson, the lady, yes, she literally said verbatim, yeah, I've had someone out. They send out all these other subcontractors and stuff like that. I wanted to call a professional company. Right then and there, I was like, all right, well, our job is going to be pretty easy today. If we run our process and show her what a professional company is about, all of a sudden she feels really, really comfortable and she can make the right decision for her system. Talking about that, in DFS, who were you working with? What did they help you out most with?
I was working with Russell, and honestly, what he worked with me the most about was writing up those 6 options, explaining them right, and shutting up. That was a huge stumbling block for me, is I would get uncomfortable and I would start trying to explain why they should or shouldn't do this, that, or the other, and that's what comes off as salesy. As soon as you open your mouth and start saying, hey, like trying to over-explain it, it sounds like you are trying to sell this item.
Yep.
And that was a huge thing for me and Russell to work through, was hand the tablet and just stop talking. I cannot express that enough. Like, I cannot make a decision if you're asking me questions or telling me about the decisions I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
Like, they need time to just think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. We spend, 2-3 days on the Peterman Way training on what to say, when to say it, how to build the proper amount of trust. And the most important part is the part where you shut up and just let them think, because you can't try to build trust throughout the entire call only to deteriorate it because we just talked over everybody and they're like, I'm so freaking confused right now. I have no idea what's going on. So
yeah, if they have a question, they will ask it. And if there is nothing else taken away from DFS, it's just shut up.
Yeah,
Like
that's
that.
great. It's good. It's a good thing to take. Maybe we'll get that on like a poster. Just put it on the wall somewhere. That'd be great. Yeah, just shut up. That'd be awesome. But no, I can't thank you enough. Again, Russell, not an HVAC guy. He's a plumber, and he came to us as a plumber, a hell of a plumber, and has done multitudes of different things from there. So just so grateful for him and his willingness to, help. And there again, not getting your way on the HVAC side, but just, hey, what can I help you with? What do you want to learn? How do you want me to hold you accountable? All of these things that I think they do a fantastic job of just being a really good coach. I'm not here to critique you. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm literally just here as a lifeline of hey, where can I help? What are you struggling with? Let's just keep doing it over and over, because if I hold you accountable to doing it on 4 calls today, 4 calls tomorrow, 4 calls the next day, that's 12 times you've had to do something. You're going to be a little bit better at it, rather than not having that piece of accountability and you go 4 calls. You try it on the first call, it didn't work so well or didn't go over so well, and then all of a sudden I don't try it for, the next 3 days, and it's like, well, you're never going to get any better at that. So I really appreciate you taking some time to share kind of your thoughts on, how this program has impacted you. I know you do a fantastic job out there, so keep up the great work. I would say keep shutting up, but that doesn't sound right. But you know what I mean. Keep working to build trust. Again, we are not trying to sell anything to a customer. We are simply trying to run that process, build trust, present all of their options, whether you think they need it or not. At the end of the day, that ain't your choice. And it isn't your place to insert yourself either. It's your job to be the professional, present all of the things that they could potentially do with that system, and then let them choose and then support that decision and then do great work. That's what we're about. So thanks again. Hopefully this was helpful in explaining that. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys again.